What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Starting off with local news, fewer babies in Taiwan are making it through their first 5 years. That's not just a devastating loss for families, but also a big problem for the country. Joyce Zheng reports.
Welcoming a new life continues to be difficult in Taiwan. The country has one of the lowest birth rates in the world. Last year, Taiwan hit a record low in its number of births at just 138,000. But out of the few babies that are born, more and more are not surviving.
我们第0天的死亡是源于周产期的一个呼吸的一个疾病是占最多数，第二个就是所谓的我们的那个妊娠长短，那所谓的我们的早产儿这一件事情。
On average, 2.8 out of every 1,000 live births don't survive their first month, and 4.5 of them will die before they reach their first 5 years. Though these numbers are lower than the average upper-middle-income Asian country, Taiwan's infant mortality rates are 3 times higher than its neighbors Japan and South Korea. The health ministry says that some childcare misconceptions may be factors.
过去有许多的父母认为说趴睡可以让小孩子的头型比较好，这个没有太大的意义。但是如果造成那个新生儿猝死，那这个才真的是非常不值得。
Doctors are also concerned about seeing more hereditary conditions and genetic disorders, which can result in newborn deaths. To curb this, they've emphasized the importance of prenatal screenings to catch signs and respond as early as possible. James Lin and Joyce Zhen for TaiwanPlus.
In other health news, dengue fever cases in southern Taiwan have hit a 5-year high. 28 new cases were reported in Tainan, bringing this year's total to 158. Many parts of the city are at high risk of the mosquito-borne virus. Local authorities are working to contain the outbreak, and they're asking Tainan residents to get rid of stagnant water and unused containers, which can be mosquito breeding sites. Taiwan is outlawing the flipping of homes to make a profit. They're trying to reduce the number of empty homes and to make housing more affordable. Bing Wang reports.
Workers scramble to meet demand for high-rise buildings. The number of construction projects is at an all-time high in Taiwan. It's seen a rise of 20% from this time last year, and the cities with the most sales of new homes were in northern Taiwan, including Dayuan and Qingpu.
大园客货园区，然后另外一个就是青浦特区。那因为最近一些就是低总价的产品比较好销售，所以也会看到有蛮多新家的出现。
These projects have been snatched up by individuals looking to make money off their new properties. It's common practice in Taiwan for interested buyers to buy properties, then flip them for a profit. According to government statistics, 12% of owned properties, or almost 900,000 units, were empty. Rather than occupy the properties, the owners are waiting for the price to increase. The government has rolled out new laws that prohibit this kind of practice as a way to reduce the number of empty homes.
预售屋未来都不能再转售了。那萎缩的主要原因是因为司法人，因为他购买住宅要产许可制，他买老屋的话，手续变得非常的繁复。
People who break the rule will be subject to a fine of $16,000 to $3 million US. The penalties will also apply to realtors who help people resell or transfer purchase agreements. This, analysts say, will hopefully alleviate Taiwan's long-standing housing market issues and allow younger and low-income individuals to buy their first home. Patrick Chen and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
After a busy weekend on the campaign trail, all 3 of Taiwan's presidential candidates now face political uncertainty. John Van Trieste has more on where each now stands.
Kuomintang presidential candidate Ho Yo-yi took to the stage in Taipei Sunday to cheers. Surrounded by party figures, he talked Taiwan's energy dilemma. Ho wants to reverse the current Democratic Progressive Party government's plan to axe nuclear power by 2025.
在核二，我们也希望能够延役；核三能够延役；核一我们要考虑一样，我们能够经过专家评估以后，我们能够延役，能够再启动，我们再启动。
But it's who wasn't on stage with Ho that drew media attention. The party's 2020 candidate, Han Kuo-yu, sent flowers instead of making an appearance. At an event the day before, Han had kept his distance from Ho, sitting apart and not explicitly backing Ho. This has sparked questions about unity within the party's ranks. Elsewhere in Taipei, DPP candidate Lai Ching-te held a rally of his own. His party has held the presidency for 2 terms now, and Lai appealed for a third, citing child care subsidies and other funding his party's introduced. While Lai's ahead in the latest polls, he faces his own uncertainties. Ho Yo-i has accused him of libel, and some party insiders worry their chances of winning the legislature aren't good after several candidates withdrew over allegations of sexual misconduct within the party. In the central city of Taichung, Taiwan People's Party candidate Ko Wen-je focused on the U.S. and China.
大概中美对抗的局势是已经形成了，而且大概未来的10几年应当都是这样。我们也希望说，台湾是一个中美沟通的桥梁，而不应当是一个中美对抗的一个棋子。
The wild card in Ko's campaign is electronics mogul Terry Guo. Rumors have swirled for months about a political collaboration between the two. But a recently planned meeting did not go ahead, leaving questions about this campaign unanswered too. John Su and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
In international news, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen will visit China later this week. Yellen's trip is meant to increase communications between the 2 superpowers. She is also expected to bring up concerns about what the U.S. calls China's economic coercion. That's its targeting of foreign firms that criticize China's policies. The trip comes shortly after U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's visit to Beijing, where he met with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. The two agreed to not let their country's rivalry turn into conflict. The U.S. has been recently trying to ease tensions with China. Thousands of Australians have rallied to support recognizing Indigenous people in the country's constitution. Australia will vote later this year on whether to create a new Indigenous voice to Parliament. It would advise the government on issues that affect the country's nearly 1 million Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Opponents of the proposal say it's divisive and lacks detail. Indigenous people make up just under 4% of the population. They were denied full voting rights until the 1960s. Tens of thousands of people marched through the streets of Seoul over the weekend for the South Korean capital's Pride Parade. The event had been forced to relocate after the city handed its usual outdoor venue to a group of conservative Christians. Homosexuality is still taboo in South Korea, where polls suggest well over half the population opposes same-sex marriage. This year's Pride Parade saw muted protests by Christian groups. They were far outnumbered by Pride-goers at the celebration in downtown Seoul. Now, the transgender community is one of the most marginalized groups in the world. One issue trans people continue to face here in Taiwan is updating their national identification. Harrell Hughes brings us this report on the difficult and lengthy process.
My gender is my choice.
More than 3,000 people gathered in Taipei in October last year to march for trans rights. Trans people across the world continue to face social stigmatization and countless obstacles, such as a lack of legal protections and insufficient access to proper health care. In Taiwan, a common problem trans people have is updating their official identification. These IDs are needed in dozens of everyday situations: traveling, going to school, voting, renting or buying a house, opening a bank account, applying for a marriage license, visiting the doctor, joining the military, finding employment, and almost any interaction with police. In every one of these instances, official identification is needed, and IDs that don't match the name or gender of their owner can affect the outcomes of them all.
Not so long ago, a transgender client was hired by an employer, but on the first day of work, they handed over their ID card to the employer, and the employer found out that they was transgender and fired them immediately.
In Taiwan, there are 2 main requirements to change a gender marker on an ID. The first is to undergo 2 psychiatric evaluations. The second is to provide proof of gender-affirming surgery, procedures that give people a body that fits their gender. Some say these are high hurdles to clear.
I'm mainly concerned about that, and first is the cost of this kind of surgery.
Gender-affirming surgery is not covered by Taiwan's national health insurance. The average cost can range from $2,000 to $26,000 US. Recovery time can be up to 6 months. But not all transgender people feel a need to change their bodies, and some activists say this requirement is completely unnecessary.
It's not only about money, but time or a quality of your life, of your well-being. And in our social life, it's not necessary for us to alter our genital because we actually we don't need to see them. Yeah, so people are trying to find alternative ways.
In 2021, one woman became the first person in Taiwan to legally change her gender marker. The court ruled the surgical requirement was unconstitutional, but her case was an exception to the rule. Many other cases have been dragging through the court system for more than 2 years.
We believe that gender identity is a basic human right, and everyone should have the right to have a gender marker that matches their identity.
The mental toll issues like this cause, combined with other societal shortcomings and prejudices, cannot be understated. The transgender community has one of the highest rates of suicide attempts in the world, nearly 8 times higher than for cis people. Taiwan is working to address the process of updating national ID cards, and offering support to one of the most marginalized communities in the world would go a long way in preventing high suicide rates and fostering acceptance. Devin Tsai and Harrell Hughes for TaiwanPlus.
It shredded itself to pieces. Now it's worth $25 million. Banksy's painting, Love is in the Bin, is the artist's most valuable work, and it's just begun its world tour here in Taipei. Yujin Huang reports.
These people at Taipei's Museum of Contemporary Art booked more than a week in advance to see a single work of art by the street artist Banksy. It's called Love is in the Bin. It's on a world tour, and Taiwan is the first stop. The exhibition opened to the public on Saturday. It's free, but visitors need to pre-register online. The slots on the first day are all full.
想说只是一个单纯就是一个艺术品，然后想要知道说，就是为什么它这么有名气。原本是抱着这个想法来的，这样，但实际见到之后就觉得，它整个在制作过程中，它其实是有一个蛮特殊的。 赋予它的艺术的意义，这样。
因为 Banksy 他其实长期都蛮关注一些政治、一些社会议题。那我觉得台湾算是在政治议题上面都是一直有蛮多的想法的，所以或许未来也可以考虑跟 Banksy 可能做个合作。
Banksy is best known for his graffiti, but Love is in the Bin was originally a painting called Girl with Balloon. It made global headlines in 2018 when it was destroyed at an auction in London by a shredding device hidden in the frame. Ironically, that made the British artist's piece much more valuable. Love is in the Bin resold for $25 million US, nearly 20 times the original price. In Taipei, the piece is on display in 360 degrees, so visitors can see Banksy's signature and where the shredding device was placed.
我觉得大家在看到这件作品，同时会去欣赏Banksy 其他的作品，也更能够理解他对于这个社会关怀的以及这个所有的他维权上面的一个努力，这个是台湾一直在努力的方向。
The exhibition here will run from July 1st to August 13th. For anyone who misses out on the 3 rounds of registration, the organizers have a plan. On August 4th, a blood donation station will be set right in front of the museum. Give blood, and you'll get access to Banksy's work in exchange. Howard Zhang and Yujin Huang for TaiwanPlus.
Sports news. Taiwan won big at the Taipei Asian Judo Open 2023 over the weekend, finishing 2nd overall. The Taiwanese team bagged 3 gold, 5 silver, and 7 bronze medals for a total of 15. More than 170 judokas from 17 countries competed. South Korea came out top, winning 25 medals, with Japan in 3rd place with 6. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, enjoy these images of the Sky Bloom immersive display inside a New York City skyscraper. I'm Eric Gao. Take care and see you next time.